I want to tell you a story. A story about a woman who lost everything: her marriage, her money, her confidence. A woman who sat in a tiny apartment with her baby daughter, so poor that she could not afford to heat her home. A woman who was rejected not once, not twice, but 12 times by publishers who told her that her book would never sell. And today, her books have sold over 500 million copies. Her stories have been translated into 80 languages. Her imagination built a world that billions of people call home. Her name is J.K. Rowling, and her story will change how you think about failure, rejection, and the extraordinary power of refusing to quit. Chapter 1: A Girl Who Lived in Stories. Joanne Rowling was born on July 31, 1965, in Yate, a small town near Bristol, England. From the very beginning, she was a child who lived inside her own imagination. At the age of 6, she wrote her first story. It was about a rabbit called Rabbit who got the measles. She read it to her younger sister, who loved it, and from that moment, Joanne knew exactly what she wanted to do with her life. She wanted to write. But the world does not always make it easy for dreamers. Her family was not wealthy, her home life was complicated. Her mother suffered from a serious illness, and Joanne often felt like she was carrying a weight that no child should have to carry. She escaped into books. She read everything she could find. Stories were not just entertainment for her, they were survival. Every book she opened was a door to a world where things made sense, a world where good could defeat evil, a world where an ordinary person could become extraordinary. And this is the first lesson. If you love something deeply, do not let anyone tell you it is a waste of time. The thing you turn to when the world gets heavy, the thing that makes you feel alive when everything else feels broken, that is not a hobby. That is a calling. Pay attention to it. Chapter 2: The Idea on a Delayed Train. In 1990, something happened that would change the world forever, and it started with a delayed train. Joanne was 25 years old, traveling from Manchester to London. The train was delayed for 4 hours. She had no phone, no laptop, no book, just a window and her thoughts. And then, out of nowhere, the idea came to her. A boy who does not know he is a wizard, a school for magic, a world hidden inside the ordinary world. Harry Potter walked into her mind fully formed. She could see him, a skinny boy with glasses and a scar on his forehead. She could see Hogwarts. She could see the entire universe. She did not have a pen. She was too shy to ask anyone for one. So she sat on that train for 4 hours and built the entire world inside her head, character by character, detail by detail. By the time she arrived in London, she knew this story would define her life. She once said, "I had never been so excited about an idea before. I just sat there and thought, and all the details bubbled up in my brain." The second lesson is this: your greatest idea might come at the most unexpected moment. It might come when you are stuck, delayed, or waiting. The moments when nothing seems to be happening might be the moments when everything is about to change. Stay open. Stay curious. Do not fill every second with noise. Sometimes silence is where the magic lives. Chapter 3: When the World Fell Apart. But life did not stop to let Joanne write her masterpiece. In fact, life got harder. In 1990, the same year she got the idea for Harry Potter, her mother was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Joanne moved to Portugal to teach English and began writing the first chapters of her book in cafes during her free time. In Portugal, she fell in love, got married, and had a daughter named Jessica. But the marriage was not a happy one. It fell apart quickly and painfully. In 1993, Joanne found herself back in Edinburgh, Scotland. She was a single mother, She had no job, she had almost no money. She was living on government assistance, barely able to afford food. She later described this period as the darkest of her life. She said, "I was the biggest failure I knew. I was jobless, I was a single parent, I was as poor as it is possible to be in modern Britain without being homeless." She was also battling depression. There were moments when she wondered if life was worth living at all. But even in her darkest hours, she did not stop writing. She would put her baby daughter in a stroller, walk to a cafe, and write while Jessica slept beside her. She could not afford to buy much, so she ordered 1 cup of coffee and wrote for hours. Page by page, chapter by chapter, word by word. This is the third lesson, and it might be the most important one. Your darkest moment does not have to be your final chapter. It can be the chapter where the story turns. The moments when you feel the most broken are often the moments when you are building something that will change everything. Do not give up in the middle of the story. You do not know what the next chapter holds. Chapter 4: 12 Rejections. In 1995, Joanne finished the manuscript for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. She typed it on an old manual typewriter because she could not afford a computer. She made copies and sent them to publishers. And then the rejections started. Publisher 1 said no. Publisher 2 said no. Publisher 3, 4, 5, 6, all no. She received 12 rejection letters. 12 different publishers looked at Harry Potter and decided it was not good enough. One publisher told her, "Children's books do not make money." Another simply returned the manuscript without a single comment. 12 times the world told her that her dream was not worth investing in. 12 times someone in a position of power looked at the thing she had poured her heart into and said, "No thank you." Most people would have stopped after the third rejection. Many would have stopped after the first. But Joanne did not stop. She kept sending the manuscript. She kept believing, not because she was certain it would succeed, but because she could not imagine a life where she did not try. And then, finally, a small London publishing house called Bloomsbury said yes. The chairman had given the first chapter to his 8-year-old daughter, Alice. She read it, demanded the second chapter immediately, and told her father, "Daddy, this is so much better than anything else." An 8-year-old girl saw what 12 professional publishers could not. The fourth lesson is painful but powerful. Rejection is not proof that your work is bad. Rejection is proof that you are putting yourself out there. Every no brings you closer to the yes that changes everything. The people who never get rejected are the people who never try. And the people who never try are the people who never build anything worth remembering. Chapter 5: The World Discovers Magic. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was published on June 26, 1997, with an initial print run of just 1,000 copies. Bloomsbury told Joanne that she should get a day job because there was very little money in children's books. She did not get a day job. Within months, the book began to spread. Not through advertising, not through marketing campaigns, through something far more powerful: word of mouth. Children read it and told their friends. Parents read it and told other parents. Teachers read it and put it on their classroom shelves. The story sold itself because it was real, it was honest, it was exactly what the world needed. By the end of 1997, Harry Potter had won the Nestle Smarties Book Prize. By 1998, the American rights had sold for over $100,000, an unheard-of amount for a debut children's book. By 1999, the first 3 Harry Potter books occupied the top 3 spots on the New York Times bestseller list. The rest is history. 7 books, 8 films, theme parks, a Broadway play, over 500 million copies sold worldwide, translated into 80 languages. Joanne became the first person in history to become a billionaire primarily through writing books. The fifth lesson is this: when your work is authentic, when it comes from a real place, when it carries the weight of your real experience and your real truth. It does not need a massive marketing budget to succeed. Truth has its own gravity. It pulls people in. Focus on making your work real, and the right audience will find you. Chapter 6. What Harry Potter really taught the world. But here is what most people do not realize about Harry Potter. It was not just a story about magic and wizards. It was a story about everything Joanne had been through. Harry Potter was an orphan who felt unloved and invisible, just like Joanne felt as a struggling young mother. Hogwarts was a place where the people who did not fit in anywhere else finally found a home, just like books had been a home for Joanne when the real world was too painful. The Dementors, the terrifying creatures that sucked all happiness out of you, were a direct representation of Joanne's experience with depression. She has said this openly. She wrote her deepest pain into her story, and millions of people around the world recognize that pain because they carried it too. The Patronus charm, the spell that defeats the Dementors, is powered by your happiest memory. Think about what that means. The only thing that defeats darkness is holding on to the light inside you, even when the darkness feels overwhelming, even when you cannot see a way out. Joanne did not just write a fantasy novel. She wrote a survival manual disguised as a children's story. The 6th lesson is this: your pain is not wasted. Your struggles, your failures, your darkest moments, they are not just obstacles. They are raw material. The greatest art, the greatest work, the greatest contributions to the world come from people who had the courage to transform their suffering into something beautiful. Do not hide from your pain. Use it. Chapter 7. What she did with her fortune. When Joanne became wealthy beyond anything she had ever imagined, she did something that very few billionaires have ever done. She gave so much money away that she lost her billionaire status. She donated over $160 million to charity. She founded a children's charity called Lumos, dedicated to helping disadvantaged children around the world. She funded medical research for multiple sclerosis, the disease that took her mother's life. She once said, "You have a moral responsibility when you have been given far more than you need to do wise things with it and give intelligently." She did not hoard her wealth. She did not build golden towers. She looked at the world that had once made her feel worthless, and she decided to make it better. The 7th lesson is this: what you do after you succeed reveals who you truly are. Anyone can be generous when they have nothing to lose, but true character is shown by what you do when you have everything to gain by keeping it all for yourself. Success is not the finish line. Success is the starting line for the impact you were meant to make. Chapter 8. Why this story matters to you. Now, you might be thinking, that is an incredible story, but I am not a writer. I am not J.K. Rowling. What does her story have to do with my life? Everything. You do not need to write a best-selling novel to learn from Joanne's life. You just need to pay attention. When she sat on that delayed train, she did not complain about the wait. She used it. She turned a frustrating moment into the most important moment of her life. What are you doing with your waiting moments? Are you scrolling through your phone, or are you using that time to think, to plan, to dream? The gap between people who create and people who consume is not talent. It is what they do with their empty minutes. When 12 publishers rejected her, she did not take it personally. She kept sending the manuscript. She kept going. How many rejections have you faced? 1, 2, maybe 3, and you stopped? Joanne faced 12. 12 doors slammed in her face, and behind the 13th door was everything she had ever dreamed of. Your 13th door is out there, but you will never find it if you stop knocking. When she was broke, depressed, and alone, she did not wait for the world to rescue her. She walked to a cafe, ordered 1 cup of coffee, and she wrote. She built her future 1 word at a time. You can do the same thing. Whatever your dream is, start building it with what you have, right now. Not when things get easier, not when you have more money, not when you have more time. Now, with the tools you already have, in the space you already occupy. Start. Chapter 9. The magic was always inside you. I want to leave you with one final thought. J.K. Rowling created a world full of magic, wands and broomsticks and invisible cloaks and castles hidden from the ordinary world, and children and adults all over the planet fell in love with it because deep down, every human being believes in magic. We believe that extraordinary things are possible. But here is what Joanne understood better than anyone. The real magic was never in the wand. It was never in the spell. The real magic was in the person who refused to give up. Joanne Rowling had no wand. She had no spell. She had a pen, a cup of coffee, and a dream she refused to let die. And with those 3 things, she changed the world. You do not need magic to change your life. You need persistence. You need patience. You need the willingness to keep writing your story even when no one is reading it yet. Joanne once told a group of students, "It is impossible to live without failing at something unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all." So stop being afraid of failure. Stop being afraid of rejection. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. The cafe is open. The pen is in your hand. The blank page is waiting. Write your story, even if no one believes in it yet, even if the world has told you no 12 times, even if you are sitting in a small room wondering if any of this will ever work. It will, but only if you keep going. Keep writing, keep building, keep believing. Your story is not over. The best chapters have not been written yet. I will see you in the next video.